I hadn't eaten in 2 days, and I was down to my last $10 when I made the worst decision of my life. I bought a broken houseboat that everyone else was too scared to touch. What I found inside is the reason I still look over my shoulder today. Before we start, join our YouTube by subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to like this video and tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, let's get into the story. I hadn't eaten in 2 days when I found the key. It was rusted, tied to a torn piece of paper that simply said, Dock 17, don't let them take it. And I swear, I had no idea then that this broken houseboat would almost get me killed. If you've ever felt like the world just forgot you, yeah, that was me. My name's Roni. I was 18, homeless, and down to my last $10. Actually, that's not even the full truth. I wasn't just broke. I was invisible. You see, people don't look at you the same when you smell like the street, when your clothes look like they've survived a war, when your eyes carry something heavy you can't explain. I used to have a home, small apartment, nothing fancy, but it had warmth. My mom's laugh used to fill it up like sunlight. Then cancer came and took everything. After she died, the landlord didn't wait long. Rent piled up. I tried working odd jobs, but grief doesn't clock out. Eventually, I did. And just like that, I was sleeping behind a grocery store, using a cracked phone with no data, surviving on whatever I could find or beg for. Funny thing is, you stop dreaming when survival becomes your full-time job. But that day, something changed. It started with rain. Cold, sharp rain that felt like needles hitting my skin. I was sitting under a broken bus stop roof, hugging myself, trying to stay warm. That's when I saw the old man. He was struggling to carry a small metal box, slipping on the wet pavement. People walked past him like he didn't exist. I don't know why, but I stood up. Hey, you need help? He looked at me like I wasn't supposed to speak, like I broke some invisible rule. Then he nodded. I carried the box for him across the street. It wasn't heavy, just awkward. When we reached his building, he took a long look at me. You don't belong out here, he said. I almost laughed. Yeah, well, I don't belong anywhere. He didn't smile, just reached into his coat and pulled out something. That key. This used to belong to someone who believed in second chances, he said. I frowned. What is it? He handed it to me along with that torn paper. Dock 17. If it's still there. It's yours! I stared at him. Why me? He paused. Because you stopped. That's it? Then he walked inside and disappeared, like he was never there. Now think about this. You're cold, hungry, broke, and some stranger hands you a key to something. Would you go? Or would you assume it's a joke? I almost threw it away. Actually, I did. For like 5 minutes. But something kept pulling at me. That note. Don't let them take it. Who's them? And why did it sound like a warning? So, yeah, I made a choice that didn't make sense. I decided to find Dock 17. It took me hours, walking through parts of the city I'd never seen before. Industrial areas, rusted fences, empty streets that felt off. By the time I reached the harbor, the sky was turning orange. Boats lined the docks, some shiny and expensive, others barely holding together. Dock 17 was at the very end. Of course it was. I walked slowly, my shoes squishing with every step. My heart was doing something weird, like it knew something I didn't. Then I saw it, and I almost turned around, because there it was, a broken houseboat, tilted slightly to one side, paint peeling off, windows cracked, the name on the side barely visible. It looked dead. No, worse than dead. Forgotten. I checked the note again. Dock 17? This had to be it. I stepped closer, the wood creaking under my feet. This is stupid, I muttered. But my hand was already reaching for the door. The key fit. That's when I felt it. That weird chill. Not from the cold, from something else. Like the boat was watching me. I pushed the door open. The smell hit me first. Dust, mold, something old. Very old. I stepped inside slowly. Hello? Silence. Just the sound of water gently hitting the sides of the boat. The inside looked even worse. Broken furniture. Papers scattered everywhere. A chair flipped over like someone left in a hurry. Or was forced to. I swallowed. Okay, yeah, this was a bad idea. I turned to leave. But then I heard something. A faint sound. Like a knock. I froze. Knock. Knock. It wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from below. Under the floor. I stared down. Okay, nope. Definitely not doing that. But I didn't move. My feet felt glued. Because the knocking came again. Slower this time. More deliberate. Knock. 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 Now here's the thing. You don't hear sounds like that in an empty boat. Unless something's not empty. My heart was racing. My brain was screaming to leave. But something deeper, something stupid, told me to stay. I looked around and found a loose wooden panel near the center of the floor. I crouched down slowly. Hello? I whispered. Silence. Then a soft voice. From beneath the floor. You're not supposed to be here. I jumped back so hard I hit the wall. What the hell? My chest was pounding. Was someone living under this boat? Was this a trap? I grabbed a broken piece of wood nearby, holding it like some kind of weapon. Who's there? I shouted. No answer. Just silence again. But I knew what I heard. I wasn't alone. And suddenly, that note made a lot more sense. Don't let them take it. Take what? This boat? Or whatever was hiding inside it? I took a step back toward the door. Every instinct I had was telling me to run. But then I noticed something. On the wall, half covered by peeling paint. A photograph. I walked over slowly, wiped the dust off, and my stomach dropped. Because the person in that photo looked exactly like my mother. I couldn't breathe. My fingers were still pressed against that dusty photograph, but they felt numb, like they didn't belong to me anymore. That's not possible, I whispered. I leaned closer. Same eyes, same soft smile. Even that tiny scar above the eyebrow. The one my mom used to joke about. This is her. But it wasn't just her. There was a man standing beside her. Tall, serious face. One hand resting on her shoulder like he was trying to protect her. Or maybe hold on to something he knew he'd lose. And then I saw it. In the bottom corner of the photo, barely visible, a name, Mariner Holdings. I stepped back slowly. That name, I'd heard it before. Big company. Real estate. They bought old places, tore them down, built luxury stuff nobody like me could ever afford. Why would my mom be in a photo connected to them? And more importantly, why was that photo inside this broken houseboat? My thoughts got cut off by the sound again. Knock, knock, this time louder. From below. I swallowed hard. Okay, I muttered to myself. You came this far. Just check. I crouched down again near that loose wooden panel. My hands were shaking as I slid it open. Darkness. At first, I couldn't see anything. Just a small, cramped space under the floor. Then, movement. I flinched back. Wait, a voice whispered. Don't close it. I froze. It was the same voice. Not scary this time. Just scared. I leaned in a little. Who are you? I asked. There was a pause. Then slowly, a face came into the faint light. A girl, maybe my age, dirty, tired. Eyes wide like she hadn't slept in days. Please, she said. You can't let them know you're here. I blinked. Who's them? She shook her head quickly. No time. You need to leave. Now. Hold on, I said, confused. This boat. I have the key. Some old guy gave it to me. Her expression changed instantly. You met him? She whispered. Yeah, why? She looked like she was about to cry. I thought. I thought he was gone. Okay, wait, I said, trying to keep up. What's going on? Who are you? She hesitated. Then finally, my name's Lila. Roni, I said. We just stared at each other for a second. Two strangers, in a broken boat, hiding from something we didn't understand. Then suddenly, footsteps, heavy ones, from outside. Both of us froze. Lila's eyes went wide. They're here. My heart dropped. Who? But I already knew. She grabbed my wrist. Get down here, now. What? No. Do you want to die? She snapped, her voice barely above a whisper. That was enough. I slid down into that cramped space just as the front door of the boat creaked open. Lila pulled the panel shut above us. Darkness swallowed everything. I could hear my own heartbeat in my ears. Then, voices. Two men. Check everything. Boots thudding against the wooden floor. Boss said this place still matters. Don't ask me why. Yeah, well, it's a dump. They were walking around, kicking things, moving stuff. One of them stopped right above us. I held my breath. Floor's loose here, he said. My stomach dropped. There was a pause. I felt Lila's hand tighten around my arm. Then the other guy spoke. Forget it. Nobody's been here in years. Silence. Then footsteps moving away. A few seconds later, the door slammed shut. We stayed still. Didn't move. Didn't breathe. 1 minute. 2 minutes. Finally, Lila slowly pushed the panel open. Light poured in. They're gone, she whispered. I climbed out, my legs shaky. What the hell was that? I said. She climbed up after me. That, she said, is why you should have never come here. Yeah? Well, too late, I snapped. Start explaining. She looked at me. Really looked at me. Then her eyes shifted to the photo on the wall. You saw it? Yeah, I said. That's my mom. Lila shook her head slowly. No, it's not that simple. What does that mean? She walked over to the wall, touched the edge of the photo like it meant something to her. That woman, she said quietly, helped my father hide something. I frowned. Hide what? She looked at me, and for a second, I saw fear. Real fear. Proof. Proof of what? She hesitated again, like saying it out loud would make it real. Proof that Mariner Holdings didn't just buy properties. They stole them. I stared at her. What? My father worked for them, she continued. Years ago, he found documents, records, people being forced out, threats, fake contracts, entire neighborhoods erased. I felt something twist in my chest. And this boat? I asked. This boat was his escape plan, she said. He hid everything here. My mind was racing. So where is it? She shook her head. I don't know. Then why are they coming here? Because they think I do. Silence. I ran a hand through my hair. This is insane. Yeah, she said softly. Welcome to my life. I paced around the boat, trying to think, trying to make sense of any of this. Then something clicked. That note, I said. It said, don't let them take it. Lila nodded. He knew they'd come. So what? He just left it here? No, she said. He hid it. Where? I don't know. Her voice cracked. For a second, she looked like she was about to break. Then she turned away. I've been searching for days, she said quietly. They're getting closer. I can't stay here much longer. I looked around. This place was a mess, broken, but something about it felt intentional, like the chaos was hiding something. You searched everything? I asked. Every inch. I nodded slowly. Then I looked back at the floor, at that loose panel. You checked under there? Yes, she said. There's nothing. Not nothing, I muttered. What? I crouched down again, ran my hand along the edges. Wood. Old, but not as worn as the rest. I knocked on it. Solid. Then I knocked slightly to the left. hollow. Lila stepped closer. What is that? I don't know, I said, but it's not empty. My pulse started racing again. I grabbed the edge of the panel and pulled harder this time. It shifted. Barely. Help me. We both pulled. The wood cracked slightly, then lifted. And underneath was something wrapped in plastic. Carefully sealed, hidden. Lila gasped. No way. My hands were shaking as I pulled it out. It was heavier than it looked. I set it on the floor, looked at her. You ready? She nodded slowly. I unwrapped it, layer by layer, until finally we saw what was inside. Documents, stacks of them, photos, USB drives, and one small metal box, locked. Lila's eyes filled with tears. This is it, she whispered. This is everything. But before I could say anything, we heard it again, this time louder, closer, engines, multiple, coming fast. Lila looked at me. They found us. And just like that, everything changed. My chest tightened. They found us. Lila's voice wasn't loud, but it hit harder than anything I'd heard that day. I rushed to the window. 3 black SUVs were pulling up near the dock. Not rushing, not panicking, just arriving, like they already owned the place. Okay, I said quickly, my brain finally kicking into something useful. We don't have time to panic. Lila was already grabbing the documents, her hands moving fast but shaking. They can't get this, she said. If they do, it's over. For who? I asked. For everyone, she replied. I looked at the pile again. Papers don't usually scare people with money, unless those papers can destroy them. Take only what we can carry, I said. We need to move. And go where? She snapped. I didn't answer, because I didn't know. But staying here? That wasn't an option. The front door slammed open. Voices, louder now. They're inside. Split up. My heart slammed against my ribs. Back exit? I whispered. Lila pointed toward a narrow hallway. Kitchen. There's a hatch. We ran. The boat creaked under our feet, like it was warning them with every step. I could hear boots behind us now. Closer. Way too close. We reached the kitchen. Lila dropped to her knees and pulled open a small hatch in the floor. Cold air rushed in. Water below. A narrow space just big enough to crawl through. You serious? I said. You got a better idea? She shot back. Fair point. She slid in first, clutching the bag of documents. I followed right behind her, pulling the hatch closed just as voices entered the kitchen. Check under there! Too late. We were already moving. The space was tight, dark, smelled like rust and salt. Every movement felt loud. Every breath felt like it could give us away. Then, a splash above. They jumped, spread out along the dock. I exhaled slowly. They think we went in the water, I whispered. Lila nodded. Good, that buys us time. We crawled forward until the space opened near the back of the boat. A loose panel. She pushed it open carefully. We slipped out onto the far side of the dock, hidden from view. For a second, we just stood there. Free, but not safe. Not even close. Move, I said. We ran. Through narrow alleys, past broken fences, into streets where nobody cared enough to notice. 2 soaked kids running like their lives depended on it. Because they did. We didn't stop until we reached an abandoned warehouse a few blocks away. Inside it was quiet. Dust floating in the air, sunlight breaking through cracks in the ceiling. I dropped the bag. My legs finally gave out. What now? I asked, breathing hard. Lila didn't answer right away. She just stared at the metal box. That's the key, she said. To what? To ending this. I leaned back against the wall. Okay, then let's open it. It's locked, she said. Yeah, I can see that. She wiped her hands on her shirt. My dad used to say, if something's locked, It's because the truth inside is dangerous. I gave a weak laugh. Yeah, I'm starting to get that. We searched around the warehouse. Old tools, rusted junk, nothing useful. Then I remembered something. The key, the one the old man gave me. I reached into my pocket. Still there, still cold. Try it, Lila said. I hesitated. Then slowly, I slid it into the lock. Click! We both froze. No way. I looked at her. She looked at me. Open it, she whispered. I lifted the lid. Inside, a single USB drive and a letter, old, folded carefully. Lila picked it up with trembling hands. This is his handwriting, she said. Read it. She took a breath and began. If you're reading this, then they're already looking for you. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you longer. Mariner Holdings isn't just a company. It's a machine that feeds on silence. I gathered everything I could. Contracts, recordings, names. Enough to expose them. But I couldn't trust anyone. So I hid it. Not in the safest place, but in the place they'd never think mattered. This boat. If you find this, don't run. Finish it. Show the world. And whatever you do, don't let them buy your silence. Dad. Lila's voice broke at the end. Tears rolled down her face. He knew, she whispered. He knew this would happen. I swallowed hard. Then we finish it. She looked at me. You don't even know me. Yeah, I said, but I know what it feels like to lose everything. Silence. Then she nodded. Okay. We plugged the USB into my old phone using a cracked adapter I barely trusted. At first, nothing. Then files, hundreds of them. Videos, audio recordings, signed documents, names of executives, proof of forced evictions, threats, even accidents that didn't look like accidents anymore. This is insane, I said. It's enough, Lila replied. It's finally enough. But here's the problem. Having the truth, that's one thing. Getting people to believe it, that's a whole different fight. They'll bury this, I said. They've got money, lawyers, connections. Lila wiped her tears. Then we don't go small. What do you mean? She looked straight at me. We go public. The next 24 hours felt like a blur. We found a public internet spot, used fake accounts, sent the files to journalists, independent reporters, anyone who might listen. At first, nothing. Then one response. A reporter. Is this real? I typed back. Check the names. That was it. That was all it took. Because once one person started digging, it spread. Fast. Really fast. By the next morning, it was everywhere. Headlines, videos, leaked documents, people talking, asking questions. Mariner Holdings tried to deny it. Of course they did. But the evidence? It was too much. Too detailed. Too real. Investigations started. Executives stepped down. Some disappeared. Some got arrested. And just like that, the machine started breaking. Weeks later, I stood at the same harbor. Dock 17, but it felt different now. Cleaner, quieter. The boat was still there. But it didn't feel forgotten anymore. Lila stood beside me. They offered me money, she said. I looked at her. To stay quiet. She smiled slightly. I said no. Good. She nodded. My dad would have liked you. I let out a small laugh. I think he'd say I took too long. Yeah, she said. But you showed up. That hit me. Because that's the thing, right? I used to think my life ended when I lost everything. But the truth is, sometimes losing everything is what puts you exactly where you need to be. A homeless kid with $10, a broken boat, a random key. None of it made sense at the time. But it led me here, to something that mattered, to someone who needed help, to a story that changed lives. I looked out at the water. For the first time in a long time, I felt something I didn't recognize. Peace. If you've ever felt invisible, like your life doesn't matter, just remember this. Sometimes, the smallest choices lead to the biggest truths. I almost walked away that day. I almost ignored that key. But I didn't, and it changed everything. So yeah, maybe don't ignore the small moments. They might be the ones that save you. And hey, if this story meant something to you, drop a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. And if you want more stories like this, you already know what to do. Because trust me, this wasn't luck. It was a second chance, and I took it.